Ren blamed the equipment 3 times before he stopped. The fourth reading came back the same. A ship with no beacon, no hail, no match against 6,000 registered hulls. Just one word on his screen. Unknown. Subbed Admiral PTH looked at it twice and ordered the Arden to intercept. The contact didn't run. It didn't evade. It sat there while the frigate's sensors got worse the closer they came. A hull that read as layered in ways the system had no name for, a mass that shifted depending on which array measured it, a drive core throwing heat no known engine produced. PTH ordered a tractor lock, more instinct than plan. The lock caught. Nothing flared, nothing roared. The numbers on the drive signature simply climbed, smooth and unhurried, and the vessel began drifting toward the Arden, not fighting the beam, just absorbing it, the way a man might shrug off a hand on his shoulder. No alarm ever tripped. The restraint system reported nominal function the entire time, because nothing about what was happening qualified as failure in its threshold logic. It had simply been outlasted. PTH released the lock before anyone had to say out loud what they were watching. The ship stopped 900 meters off her bow. Then its running lights came on amber along the hull, white at the bow, a slow, pulsing signal at the stern. Ren ran it against an archive of pre-imperial contact codes 2 centuries old and found the match. I see you. I mean nothing hostile. I am here. PTH's report reached Fleet Admiral Kale 11 minutes later, one line appended to the sensor logs. I do not have a classification for this. Kale ran the hull against the human trade registry bordering the corridor. No match, until the computer offered a ghost, a class of survey vessel the humans had decommissioned a decade back. He thought about the tractor data. He thought about a restraint system that hadn't failed and a ship that had walked through it anyway. Then he sent 6 warships to the corridor and a scholar envoy named Dis, because whatever this was, somebody was going to have to talk to it. Dis smelled the ship before he understood it. Oil, scorched metal, something living underneath. Commander Dara Os met him at the collar and shook his hand before he could offer the formal bow, which told him she'd studied his people as carefully as he was about to study hers. 9 crew, 41 who had served across 22 years, 3 deaths, all in the first 5, none since. An engine bay built by a man named Rio who had married a failing commercial drive to a scavenged recapture system because the ship couldn't afford a new one. 3 attempts, 2 failures, both docked, both survivable by design. A hull with 4 layers from 4 different decades, the outermost a ceramic composite lifted from mining equipment because it could absorb 1,000 small impacts and keep working. A medical bay that tracked individuals instead of species averages, because, as the ship's doctor told him, averages get people killed. By the second night, Dis understood what he was looking at. He wrote it to Kale plainly. This vessel is not a threat. It is a result. The question is how many more like it exist. The Imperial Advisory Council answered before Kale could. Detain the vessel and crew pending review. If compliance is refused, treat it as hostile. 2 more ships arrived under a battle coordinator named Vane, who read Dis's reports, found them accurate and irrelevant. He gave Dara 1 hour to submit to boarding. She answered in 11 minutes, 3 paragraphs, every citation correct, the transit compact of 2271, the procedural articles requiring legal review before disabling fire in a non-hostile contact. Vane called it a delay tactic and ordered a demonstration shot. It hit the bow. Inside, nobody felt it. Rio's voice came over the channel, unbothered. Outer layer took it, structures nominal. Vane authorized a full disabling shot. This time the ship shuddered, low, distant, like something enormous disagreeing with its own existence. Rio's damage report came back fast, rehearsed. Composite degraded on the port section. Structural layer intact. Drive output at 94%. 94%. A full disabling shot, and the ship had lost 6. The fleet channel went silent, not a pause, but a room full of professionals quietly recalculating everything they believed. Nadia's voice came low over the internal line. Want me to show them what 94% looks like? Dara said no. Then she opened the channel to the entire fleet herself, and her voice hadn't moved an inch from where it had been 2 days earlier. Fleet Commander Vane, you have now discharged 2 weapons against a vessel that has not threatened you, has not moved against you, and has been engaged in active legal dialogue with your command. A beat, deliberate. I want it on record that this ship is still here, that its crew is unharmed, that we have not returned fire and have no intention of doing so. I am requesting that you open a direct channel to Admiral Kale, who I believe holds the authority to conduct this conversation properly. Silence answered her. Then Vane, on a private line, asking Kale for his assessment. She's right about the law, Kale said. She's right about procedure. He looked at the numbers on his own screen, 94%, and felt something in his chest settle into place. She's also still there. He relieved Vane of command on the spot and pulled Leth off the comm station. Not as punishment, he told himself, but because he needed someone beside him who was listening instead of arguing. Then he opened a line to Dara directly, no title, no formality. I would like to talk, he said. I think we've been standing in the same room for 2 days without actually speaking to each other. I've been ready since we arrived, she answered, in his own language without an accent. He came aboard alone the next morning. No delegation, no sidearm, nothing in his hands, a breach of every protocol he'd sworn to uphold, and he left before his own staff could stop him. Dara walked him to the ship's bow observation room, floor and walls both transparent, the stars directly underfoot. His own fleet hung visible below them, running lights crawling in slow formation. You picked this room on purpose, he said. It's the best room on the ship. It also makes your fleet look smaller from underneath. That's also true. They sat on the low bench, the corridor's 2 days of posturing finally reduced to 2 people talking. He asked what it would take to undo the last 48 hours. She told him. A standing corridor agreement under the compact, bilateral, reviewable, and a copy of the Rathani stellar cartography for the sectors bordering their space. That cartography is sensitive, he said. We're going there regardless. I'd rather not find things by accident. He was quiet a while. Then, your ship took 2 weapons discharges and is sitting at full operational status this morning. Rio had a good night. I need to know what to tell the people who gave those orders. She looked past him, down through the floor at the stars. Tell them the ship was built by people who expected things to go wrong and built accordingly. That's not a weapon, it's a philosophy. She paused. There's no other ship exactly like this one. Rio built most of what makes it strange, but the philosophy isn't strange at all. Every long-haul crew that spent 2 years past the supply lines ends up solving problems the same way. You use what you have. When something breaks, you learn why and you fix that, not just the part. Kale thought of his own fleet, built from certified specifications, elegant, uniform, and utterly untested by anything like the last 2 days. He signed the agreement on a data pad without another word about it. The cartography left as a memorandum pending council review, which both of them understood was the honest version of not yet, but eventually. He left 40 minutes later. No handshake this time. It wasn't that kind of document. That evening, Rio brought Dara the full diagnostic, every system nominal. The composite scar on the port bow flagged for monitoring, structurally sound. He sat beside her on the observation bench and looked down through the floor at the drifting stars. Where next? She pulled up the new charts, the corridor now open, the memorandum attached like a promise not yet kept. There's a system 3 days out. Rathani charts mark it surveyed. Nobody's been back in 60 years. Dis gave me the coordinates before he left. Off the record, Rio said. Off the record. The Relentless eased out of the formation, past 8 motionless warships that had come to detain it, and instead simply watched it go. No order to follow. No weapons lock. Behind it, the corridor sat exactly as mapped, quiet, empty, and in the Imperial database that evening, newly annotated. Non-standard deep survey, human registry, unresolved category, status, active. At the bottom, in the notes field usually left blank, someone had written 4 words and left them unsigned. Do not underestimate again.